Today is the final episode of our IVF journey, and I'm here today to talk with you about the final pregnancy test. So if you're new here, my name is Alicja and I make lots of videos on all the things that I like in life, mostly lifestyle, luxury handbags collection, jewelry collection and things of this kind. However, I also decided to feature our second IVF journey on this channel to provide some insights, knowledge and support for all the ladies out there who go through IVF journey as well. And I know through filming all the previous episodes that lots of you are currently also in the process of IVF. So wherever you are in the process, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you and hope it will be successful for you and with the positive outcome. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, I will have them linked below in my description box, as well as I have a IVF dedicated playlist also featuring the video summarizing our IVF story from last year. So there are different information there, and there is the whole walk through the process in that recent videos that I filmed during this journey. So it's very, very insightful from medical point of view, from how it makes you feel and what the process looks like step by step, featuring the surgery, egg collection surgery, and the whole hormonal stimulation, ovarian stimulation, and everything you can think of in the process is there. Today, it's time for final episode of our journey, which is the most awaited, anticipated, and I think nerve-wracking, which is pregnancy test. So last time where we left off, it was right after embryo transfer. Embryo transfer was successful and we were all hoping to wait and see how a berry will stick and how it will look like and how it will go. So during that process, the process of waiting lasts 2 weeks. It feels like the time has just been frozen. It goes so slowly. Nothing ever goes slower than time when you are waiting for something. So during this period, you can't do anything but wait. I don't recommend to take any pregnancy tests at home, although everyone is tempted, including me, and lots of people still do it anyway, although it's not recommended, including me, because it can just give you false results or real negative result, and then just put you in a really bad mood, and you still have to wait for the actual test. So generally it doesn't do anything good, but it's very hard to just wait these 2 weeks and not knowing what the results gonna be like, and it's just very, very stressful. So during that period, there's no more blood tests. Before, the blood test was almost every single day. There were ultrasound as well. So during that period, it's just wait and see. So all the frequency of medical appointments is reduced. There is no need to keep seeing nurses, medical staff, doctor so frequently anymore. However, every single day I was supposed to still take progesterone. Progesterone is a hormone which is responsible, which actually is supposed to help keep uterine lining at the desired thickness that is helpful for a successful embryo implantation. So that's what the hormone does. I don't know how it works for other people, but in my case, this is the worst part of IVF. This was the worst period the last year, and it was the worst period this time. I didn't even find the whole ovarian stimulation through injections which were delivered in the stomach so challenging as taking this progesterone and waiting these 2 weeks for the pregnancy test result. I felt extreme level of anxiety. I felt huge mood swings. I felt in general very unwell emotionally during this period. Very very unwell. Luckily, I have a very strong ability to regulate myself inside of me by myself, so that I can still function very well on the outside. So as you could see very well, during this process I was filming a lot of YouTube videos, which you can have a look at if you haven't yet, and I am able to function very well in society and in my life despite going through such challenging turmoil inside, not only mentally and emotionally, but also hormonally induced. So it's not just my feelings and emotions. There is the whole array of hormones and hormonal storm going on inside me, which contributes even more to the fact that I feel anxious, angry, agitated, annoyed, mood swings, and in general very, very unwell. It's very hard to function when you feel this way. It's very hard to stay positive and hopeful when you feel this way. But this apparently is normal. This is unfortunately a part of IVF process. This is unfortunately a side effect to taking progesterone, and it only adds to already existing anxiety and agitation, which is caused by the whole unknown and the whole waiting and the whole waiting game. So all of this adds up, and to the point that it makes the whole process very unbearable, and it's the last trait, and it just leads to piling up of all sorts of emotion, and it all accumulates with this one result, which is now going to be make it or break it. It's going to be either positive and you feel like it was so hard and so challenging, but at least you have something at the end out of it, or all of this for nothing. So I did pregnancy test on Monday, which was a week ago, and sadly it came negative again. So this is our second failed IVF. Needless to say, I felt quite angry, to say the least, because as I just say, the whole emotions and the hard work put into that, and the sacrifices, physical, emotional, and the whole medical side effects, and everything accumulates to that moment. So, and then it all comes crashing down, and you feel like it's all for nothing, and you have nothing out of this, all this hard work out the window. And it hits even more, and it's even more annoying when it happened already second time. Makes it hits harder, and it is more worrisome, because now it makes you think like, oh my god, it didn't work the second time. Is there even a chance at all? I know that there are lots of people who keep trying multiple times. It's easy to mention things like that as long as you mention someone else's story, but when you actually have to go through it, thinking of going through it again is the last thing you want to do, really, even if you want a baby a lot, but this is just, it's a lot. The whole process also takes a long time from the beginning to an end. The whole preparation and the waiting, the one stage and then another, everything is described in my previous video, so you can refer to that if this is the first video of the series that you've been watching. He wants me to throw a sock for him, so he's disturbing. So yeah, where was I? Anyway, when I heard the negative news, I went through all the emotions. And you know, also the process after is very far from pleasant, because then now the body is getting rid of it naturally. So the period comes, and then the body gets rid of the embryo, which at this point was 3 weeks old. So you can imagine it's traumatizing. It is in itself. So then that was on a Monday, and then on Thursday we were supposed to have a follow-up appointment with our doctor, and I really was not in the right headspace to think of what am I even gonna say to him, because I thought he's gonna ask me what you're gonna do, because we have one more embryo. So I was anticipating that he's gonna ask me, you're gonna go ahead with one more and try one more, or you wanna go through the whole procedure again to keep this existing embryo as a backup plan and just create more eggs in order to create more embryos, not to be left with just one and then nothing if it's negative. So kind of like insurance plan for the future, which I talked about before as well. I don't feel like doing any of this at this particular moment, and also in my head I felt like it's very stressful and nerve-wracking to now risk doing it again and risking it's going to be negative, and we don't know what's the reason for this to be negative twice. So trying again, it's a huge risk, and it's like just wasting embryos, because if there is some pre-existing condition that enables this for me to have a positive result, keeping trying without finding out the underlying reason is just like wasting embryos, and we might as well throw them away because it will result in the same thing, plus me going through all the inconveniences and hardships of doing that. So I didn't really want to have this conversation, but he called and he didn't ask me any of these questions, and he walked me through the whole process of how everything looked like. So he told me that the stimulations result were this and this, and embryos were this and this. So he said that we had a very good quality embryos. I have a very good quality eggs. My husband's side is also very good quality. So everything is good quality. So it's not a fault of an embryo, because sometimes it can be negative if there is some issue with an embryo and the body just wants to get rid of a faulty embryo. So that's not a case in our case. We have a good quality embryo, so that even more so, there is no point wasting the good embryo that we still have, right? So he said that having 2 failed embryo transfers makes me eligible for MRI. So I will have to have uterus MRI in order to eradicate or diagnose me with, or just get it out of the way, the conditions which may have something to do with compromised uterine lining. Those conditions could be endometriosis, for example. And I know that endometriosis is a quite common problem nowadays. Lots of people have it, and lots of women have it, and lots of women have been diagnosed with it too late in life as well. The doctors are omitting that because the symptoms of endometriosis are very heavy periods, very painful periods, and much more. But those are the first warning signs, and many women have their experience that if they go to gynecologist and they complain about heavy periods and very painful periods, they ignore them, they brush it off, and they say, oh, heavy periods, oh, not a big deal. And they keep overlooking it for years. Meanwhile, the condition grows. Another condition is adenomyosis, which is also a sister of endometriosis. So they are slightly different, but what they have in common, that they have some like tumors in the uterine lining that are within the wall of uterus, and therefore they make it hard for an embryo to implant. That's why we have to take tests to find out if that's my issue or not. Sometimes if it comes to diagnosis, Sometimes it's easy to eradicate it by just removing whatever should not be in the wall, whatever tumor is there, by surgery. Sometimes it's different, but we don't know yet. We don't want to speculate what might happen if I have endometriosis, what might happen if I have adenomyosis, what might happen if this or that. We're not gonna play a witch with a black cat on the shoulder and a glass ball and try to predict the future. We'll just wait for the results of the test and see. So how it is properly diagnosed, if any of you might suspect that might have this issue. So it's a very expensive test if you just want to do it for the sake of doing it because you think you might have it. And that's why lots of people don't get diagnosed, because their doctors only do ultrasound. And you can't see the whole spectrum of the issue just through outside or transvaginal ultrasound. It's not enough. So the best way to see is do MRI with a contrast, but it's a very expensive test. So unless you have strong reasons to do it, you're gonna pay a lot. However, in my case, just because I already have been diagnosed with infertility and have 2 failed embryo transfers, I am eligible for this to be subsidized by insurance. So I have to book that now and do it. And then, according to the results of what the results would be, we will decide of next steps. Maybe the surgery will be needed, maybe some other steps will be needed. Maybe the result will be that I don't have any of these conditions that I mentioned, such as endometriosis and adenomyosis. Maybe it's something else, but then eradicating this out of the way, he might look elsewhere and dig deeper for the reasons, to find the reasons why it is happening this way. And this is very important to me, that he wants to find out what the reasons are instead of just blindly keep on trying and wasting embryos. Because I know of the couples who tried 4 times. They had, after the first egg collection surgery, they were able to end up with 4 healthy embryos, and they kept one and then another and then another until they wasted all the embryos. Everything was negative, and then they changed the clinic, and then they did tests to try to find out what the reason, and they find out that she had undiagnosed thyroid issue going on. So I'm glad my doctor is trying to find out the reasons so we can focus on eradicating the root of the problem, not just blindly shooting for the results, which maybe potentially cannot be obtained without focusing on the root of the problem. So I just mentioned thyroid when it comes to that friend of mine that I was just talking about. I know lots of you are also struggling with thyroid related conditions such as hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, or Hashimoto's. I have a whole video dedicated to that as well, where I talk in a great lengths and in details about everything in relation to my personal story of going through these conditions and what helped me, and just everything. I'll link it below as well, so you can have a look at that. Maybe it will give you further insight. My thyroid right now is okay, it's within the range, so it's not the reason for failed pregnancy. It's not a reason for failed IVF, because as long as the hormones are in the reason, that should be okay, at least according to my doctor. So we will see. We'll see how it goes. I was upset for a couple of days, but I also have a great ability to digest my problems within me by myself quite efficiently and quite quickly. I'm not saying I'm avoiding it, because suppressing problems and emotions, it's also unhealthy and may result in being thrown back at you with perpetuated strength. So that's not what I'm doing. But Yeah, I gave myself 3 days to pout. I was lying on the couch and I was angry with the whole world, and I was just watching YouTube because that's what I like to do. That makes me happy, filming YouTube and watching YouTube, and this is like just for me to debrain and distress and uplift my mood. So I gave myself 3 days of that to switch off from everything else. My husband is very supportive. You already know, you've heard a great deal from me about him. Most supportive person in my life. So it was very easy to go through that by his side. However, it's also his suffering, but he focused on me entirely and was doting on me a lot, which helped me to go through it faster. I am not a crybaby. However, this is a reason to cry, but I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I make decision inside of me to just keep going as usual and as normal. I wouldn't say keep going as nothing happened, because of course something happened. Something happened that was a huge emotional, mental, physical and financial cost on me, on us, but I decided to keep on going despite that. So we'll see where this journey will take us. It's not an easy path, so that you know, if you are watching my story and my journey and all these episodes, you know that it's good to prepare yourself. It might not be easy. It most definitely won't be pleasant. Hopefully, though, it will be successful for you and with the happy ending for you. But just be prepared that this is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. I only recorded this video after a whole week, after I found out, because I needed to give myself time to digest all the emotions and all the thoughts that were connected to that. I believe that everything happens in the right time, when it's meant to happen, and sometimes maybe it's not meant to happen. We'll see. I don't know what life will bring. Whatever it will bring, we have each other. I have my husband, who's a great support to me. We have our life despite that we build, and we have love, and we have each other, and we will see where it will take us. So I'll update you after I have further news and further results of upcoming procedure and tests. If you have any questions in reference to the whole process about anything IVF related that I haven't mentioned yet, but you are going through and you'd like to address that and ask me how it was in my case, please feel free to leave the question in the comments section below. I will get back to all of you like I usually do. Like I had hundreds of questions when it comes to my Hashimoto and thyroid related video, and I replied to almost everyone. So I try to do that. So if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, please like this video to show your support for this process and to show your support to me at this moment, because I need it now. It's been a difficult couple of days, but I also have very good group of supportive friends here who were showing me lots of love and lots of support, so that made it easier for this time to pass. But I hope you find this video useful. I hope you find it informative. It's sad that I couldn't share with you my happiness and share with you positive news. I come with a negative news, but let's hope that at least my story may help some of you who struggle with the same issue, and you might find out about this test that I'm gonna have and maybe suggest it to your doctor and ask for it if he didn't suggest it to you. So maybe, hopefully, all of you can take something good out of this video. The most important is love, actually, in this world. If you have it, you can go through lots of things in life, and I have it from my husband, and that's why I can still continue as usual. That will be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for making this far, if you have. If you found this video useful, informative, and helpful in any shape or form, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet, so we can hang out and talk about more, hopefully more uplifting subjects more often. So that would be it for today from me and Elvis. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you very soon.